Hi there and welcome to the next tutorial in making a car. We're just going to start with a completely blank Unity project. This is 2018.3 and we're going to need something to put the car on, so just stick down a cube for now. And I'm just going to position this in the centre of the world and give it a scale of 50 on the X and 50 on the Z, so I've got somewhere to move around. We're going to set the car up. And the easiest way to do this is to start with just a simple empty game object. The simple empty game object is going to be the holder for the car, so all of the scripts are going to go on this, and all of the wheel colliders and the body, the mesh, will all go underneath this as a children of this game object. So we'll probably best to rename this, so I'm just going to click on that and just call it car. And then we'll start putting the parts on that we need. So the car needs the car body, so what I'm going to do is just create a simple cube just now, and again I'm just going to rename that to car body, keep things right, and this can be replaced with a proper model when you finally get around to it. The car body needs to be in the centre of its parent object, which is the car. The next thing we need to do is a parent object for all the wheels. So if you click on car, right click again and make it empty, and we're going to rename this to car wheels, or just wheels, and all of our wheels are going to go on as children of this. You notice it's a direct child of the main car object. And the next thing we're going to do is add a wheel, so I'm going to add again another empty game object to the wheels object, and we're just going to call this left front, and this is going to be our first wheel, and to that we're going to add the wheel collider component. So if you go over to the right, click on add component and go down to physics, you'll see one of the objects, the components that you can add is a wheel collider. So I'm just going to find the wheel collider, click on that. And we're going to leave all of these values as default for now, and I'll maybe explain some of them a bit later. Now you'll see that you should see this wheel collider appear within the main object, but it doesn't appear because we've not got all of the components that we need to make it work. So if we click on car, the original car, we need to add to that the rigid body. So under physics you go to rigid body, and this is what gives it the physical properties. So that rigid body has a mass and drag and angular drag and some other bits and pieces that we don't need to care too much about. The mass of your average car is usually around about 1500, so we're just going to put that up to the approximate normal value. All of the values set within the wheel collider are set for something about that, and we can tweak all of them. Once we've done that, you'll see that there is a green circle that goes where our wheel collider was. So if you look at on left front, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set its position just by typing values in. So if it's on the left, it's going to be minus something. I'm going to say minus 1.5. And you see it moves over, and I'm going to move it forward because it's the front, so I'm going to move it forward 2 units. So we've got basically that wheel set up around the centre of this object. Now the car body would be better off if that was slightly better placed, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it up half a unit. So I'm going to say 0.5 so it's up a little bit. And I'm also going to set its scale to something useful. So if I say 2 units by maybe 4 units, then we should see that the wheel still sits outside of it and towards the front. Now it doesn't really matter about the size of this object right now. You can set it to whatever you want. I might make it a bit thinner, make it 0.5. You can set it to whatever you want, and it should still work. The rigid body, by the way, uses the collider that's attached to the car body, So when you import a mesh, you should probably make sure that you have either a mesh collider, or you leave this box collider component, or add a box collider component to it so that it knows to work. We're going to also add the other wheels. So we've got the wheels top level object, and we've got left front, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to duplicate it with Control D. You can also right click and choose duplicate here, but the shortcut is Control D. Now it's at the front already, so I'm going to make this one right front, and I'm going to move that from -1.5 to 1.5, so it's on the other side. And then with both of them selected, I'm going to duplicate them again, and I'll leave them named like that and just set the position, Z position, to -2, so they're moved towards the back, and rename them. So this will be left rear, and this will be right rear. And if we select each of them in turn, you'll see that they should be in the place that they want. When you select wheels, you should see all 4 of them. So we've got these 4 4 circles that represent the wheel colliders around the outside of this object. We'll leave it with this, and we'll play around with some of the dimensions a bit later on. If you're not happy with where the wheels are, the idea is to get it approximately symmetrical, just so we can get the physics all sorted before we start changing things too much. What we should have now, believe it or not, is a working vehicle. So I can see my vehicle if I move my camera. We'll watch this in action. If we hit play, the car will drop, and it might behave badly, but it will drop to the ground, and you can see that it used a little bit of the suspension. I think what I'll do, just so we can see this a bit better, is I'm going to make another material, and just call this red, and change its colour to red, and just attach that to the ground so we can see a bit better. So I'll play that again. You'll see that the the car drops to the ground, and it does bounce a little bit. So that's pretty much it. You've made a car. In the second part of this, we're going to try and start writing some of the scripts that make this go.